It's a little bit different. It's quite contemporary, but I think it's also quite rural.
We have a base section, which is the footprint of it. We have water ballast bags, which are big long sausages, which are then kind of clipped inside. And then we have the actual skin itself, which is zipped on, which is then inflated by a fan.
This structure is going to be an extraordinary sight within this wonderfully pretty environment. You will pick up all the colours of the sky, the water and the forests.
We wanted to make a landmark kind of piece that would celebrate the landscape. This is the first year of a cultural tourism campaign for the county. Steve Messam is a local artist. He came with this idea about Thomas West and the drop.
He was an antiquarian from the 18th century. He created viewing stations, and they were places where you would get views of the lakes. In the days before photography, you would have a thing called a clawed glass, which was a convex mirror, and you would kind of whip this convex mirror out and you stand with your back to the landscape and you kind of look at the landscape, but the mirror was also tinted and slightly soft in its reflection as well to make it look more like a picture or a painting. This sculpture here is basically a contemporary take on that clawed glass experience. It's a big reflective thing.
I think what we liked about this was the fact that a drop, and the pictures I first saw, it was just so beautiful and serene within that landscape, and it's just looking at the landscape in a different way.
Cumbria Tours have been fantastic on this. They took the bold decision saying, no, it's about time that somebody did actually take the lead and did do something bold and did actually invest properly in something and get something a bit challenging to kind of pave the way. And then it was a case of then trying to find the people who can actually make that a reality. That's why I hooked up with Cameron Balloons. They've made Richard Bransons around the world for their balloon.
It's great fun working with artists. I mean, they have so much in imagination and enthusiasm. Our job as aeronautical engineers is to control their imagination and turn that into a workable piece of engineering.
One of our advantages with Steve is that he's done a lot of work with inflatable structures before, and so when he came to us with a concept, it was a concept that we could work with quite easily.
The fact that it's not in a gallery changes the way people interact with art. I think it's fantastic, actually. I really like big pieces of art in the landscape.
We've had a lot of interest about it so far. I believe this morning it hit the Chinese post. It brings in visitors for a specific period of time. It gives them another reason to come, and as you can see, there's lots of people coming to see what this is.
The work is not the sculpture itself. The work is how the sculpture interacts with the landscape. It's not challenging the landscape. It's not an arrogant statement. This is saying, I want you to look to become a focal point.
It's good to get people to look at the landscape in a different way, and this sort of thing does help.
I thought it was more about the actual surroundings than it was about the actual drop.
The contrast with the modern structure, but with the sort of classic scenery, it looks fantastic.
A lot of partners have come together to make this thing happen, and even that has been a fantastic achievement over the last 6 months, really, to get this thing made up and then delivered on site.
In some ways it can be seen as a starting point of where things may go. So if you can get something working on this budget, then you can make the case for something larger and more exciting in the future.
I'd like to take it to the coast and up to Hadrian's Wall and Carlisle, perhaps at Christmas, maybe in spring, in the middle of the daffodils. You can just imagine that.
It'd be nice to float it on the lake. Got to do some more back to the drawing board to work out how the engineering works on that.
Because I think this county's got so much to offer. Wherever you place this, you'll get a different perspective.